Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here and welcome to Asian Ignite. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to create conversations that leads to sales. Now, before I speak about that, I want to underline a few things. The first thing is this is going to be a lengthy video. So I want your attention. If you don't have time right now, please make sure to bookmark this video and come back to it later when you have the time to watch the whole thing, because this will help you immensely generate the right leads and create conversations. When you are engaging with people, you want to make sure that you are respecting their time and you are respecting their intelligence. And by doing so, by being smooth and not assume anything, you'll be able to create that. Now, before I speak about what we going to talk about today, going deep into it, I want to highlight what we mentioned yesterday. In yesterday live, we spoke about being specific when trying to write content, because this is what will differentiate you from the rest. Yes, indeed, content is the first cornerstone around which everything happens. If your content is not particular and it doesn't speak to a specific avatar, then it's meant for everybody, and that won't lead anywhere. You will still be touching the surface here and there, and without any engagement or without any real impact in your market. What we want to have, if you want to have that real impact, we want to be specific. And the only way to be specific is to conduct our deep dive customer avatar. And when you write the content, you write it for that specific customer. So with that being said, let me remind you a little bit of the customer avatar that we created for this case, so that we can so you have an understanding about where we are, and that's how we can move on. So our customer avatar is called Marcus. His name is Marcus. He's a 34-year-old man from Boston with two kids. He has coverage to his job. He lives in silence with an anguish that nothing is guaranteed, if anything. So he's completely aware of the fact that if he loses his job or if he moves to another job where there is not life insurance, then he runs the risk of exposing his loved ones to bad outcomes. And that's something that lives in the back of his mind, but it's not articulated. So moving forward, you sent him that connection request. He accepted it, and obviously he doesn't know you so far. He, of course, all the moment he has no intent whatsoever to buy. So he doesn't have any intent right now to buy anything from you. The only thing that he sees, that the reason why he accepted your LinkedIn invite, is because he's a little bit curious about the fact that you have mentioned your life insurance is helping a specific category, and that makes him a little bit curious. So he doesn't care to add you as a friend. Now, most Asians do one of two things. Once they get accepted, they either say nothing, then Marcus forget about them immediately, or they go into a pitch immediately. Marcus feels awkward, and since he doesn't even know who you are, then he just ignore you, and your messaging goes for nothing. So you just wasted some time and some energy for nothing. So not only our approach is wrong, but also we are guaranteed to fail by following this approach. So today, what I'm going to do is to show you three kind of messaging sequence that will build Agent Ignite, that turns Marcus, messaging sequence inside Agent Ignite, that will turn the conversation that you'll have with Marcus from completely cold conversations into someone who's ready to have that sales call with you because he was qualified. All right. So this is very, very important. And if you want to sell somebody, of course, you will need to know where they happen to be in the buying journey. And this is why we are powerful. The system that we use in here is powerful because we don't just assume that the person out there is wanting our what we have to sell, we take time to qualify them. We what we assume is our hypothesis is Marcus is currently has coverage through his work. He's not desperate. He's not actively shopping around, and he's quietly worried. And we think that he's quietly worried, but he's not raising his hand yet. Therefore, pitching Marcus right now is like proposing a marriage on a first date. So we don't want that to happen. We want to be strategic about the way we are going to approach Marcus and give him a taste of what we have to offer without being assertive, without speaking for him, and without just being a little bit obnoxious, because that's what most messaging comes to be. It's like people just assume that you need their services, and even if they happen to need your services, if you are not approaching them the right way, then it's not going to stick and it's not going to give any uh, positive response. So here we go. So in order to avoid, because I could have done this demo inside the Agent Ignite, I don't want to waste time, because once you click on it, it takes a few seconds to think about it and to generate that. So what I did is that I already did the demo for you, and I'm about to share that with you directly. So the first message that we have here is this. The everything we want to do during the first message is to open the door. That's all we want to do. We want to get that first interaction with Marcus. Doesn't matter if it's yes, no, maybe. Doesn't matter if it's long or short. All we want is to get to know them and to put an idea, to seed an idea in their brain so that they can get back with us. So there's no pitching, no asking, no link. Absolutely, just a warm human touch. And the way we go about it is by maybe doing the following. Hey, Marcus, happy to connect. I have families like yours. Think through what happened to their coverage if their job situation ever changes. I did a special research on best options for professionals like you. Want me to send it over? Period. That's it. That's all you have to send. Message one, this is speaks to Marcus fear. And while this is a short, specific, inviting message, it also tells Marcus implicitly that I do know who I am speaking to, because I did my homework. I took the time to do my homework, to research you, and to know exactly where you may have a problem. And I am not assuming anything by any means. I am taking my time to ask you questions, but I did do my homework. And this works. This makes a perfect sense. So this is the first message. Now, if Marcus responds, that's fine. If he doesn't respond, then we just do a few things. The first thing is, if he doesn't respond, then we ignore him for a few days and we do the follow-up. So now when Marcus replies to message one, we need to we need to follow up with message two. And message two can be something like this. Hey, happy to send it over, assuming that he answers what he does and where his situation is, and just talk in general. Then we're gonna have to say something. So, hey, happy to send it over. Quick questions. Now we are leading with the questions. First, is your coverage mainly through your employer right now, or do you have something on the side? This question does two things. It's easy to answer. We are not causing any friction, but by any means, it's so much easy. It can be answered by yes, no. And also, the answer tells us exactly where he stands. If he has the coverage, he's your ideal. If he doesn't have coverage, then he's your ideal prospect. If he already has a coverage, we want to find out more about how much he's paying. Probably we'll be able, there is a high chance that we can give him a better quote and get him into a better policy. And if he doesn't want to discuss it, then we just ignore it and we resume the conversation later on And once we feed him enough content, and once we feel that he's being engaged with us and all that good stuff, and then we can resume a conversation either by him engaging in our content, or just by we saw that he's been engaging and that there is a chance that he continues the conversation. A lot of people, if they don't answer, it doesn't mean that they are not ready to talk. It just means that they don't feel the urge yet, because the trust is not built yet. And your job is to keep building that trust by putting content, by giving him reasons to engage. And eventually, once you resume the conversation completely changes, and it's open. He opens up, like suddenly you find him that he's opening up all over again. Now, did you notice what we did in message 2? We only qualify, we only ask the question so we know exactly where he happens to be, so that we can move on into message 3. And in message 3, what we're doing here is that we are bridging to the call. We are trying to find a bridge that can lead us to move him from completely passive person we're speaking to into somebody who is willing to come join us into sales call. And that's how we are going to be able to close him. So when Marcus mentions the employer coverage concern, he opens the door naturally to us who are agents. So, and this is this scenario that you can use. So just to give you an idea, here it is. That's exactly the situation most families I work with are in. Want to hop on a quick call. So he may answer by saying million things, and the only thing that we need to say is that we need to reaffirm that we are working with people who happen to be in this target market, in this not only target market, inside the specific target market, but inside the specific target market, they are specifically working for somebody else. They already have coverage, but they feel that it's not enough, and they feel they live in an anguish, and they want to secure something in the back. And this is very tiny uh, handful of people who may happen to be in your audience, and that's the only one we want to talk to right now, because if we can get their attention, we're going to blossom eventually into the rest. So this is a huge start. So so this is what I said. That's exactly the situation most families I works with right now. So what you're doing is you're reaffirming what you're doing exactly. So that means that gives you credibility, gives you trust, gives you the chance that this guy knows what he's talking about. He took the time to notice that when you send him that report, you took the time to craft something valuable for the kind of person he is. So now we are not, he knows that you know what you're talking about. So trust and expertise and authority is already built. You see what I mean? So now I can walk you through all the case scenarios. So now you can respond. I can walk you all the case scenarios you may want to consider as a backup plan in case something, God forbid, happens. Notice we are doing few things right here. At the start, we didn't assume or push our agenda on him. So we are completely neutral. We are just asking questions, and we are giving the feedback based on what they say. Next, based on what, so we respond based on what he mentions, and he was the one who opens that door. And second, even if he doesn't accept that invitation to the spot, on the spot, meaning to join you into sales call, this will remain in the back of his mind, and you can easily resume conversation later when he feels more comfortable. So it's a win-win. Doesn't matter if he responds or not. It's a win-win, because the process by which you proceed to talk to this person is not assume you are not being assertive. You are being strategic, and you are leading with value. So these things are very, very powerful. It works on our subconscious without even noticing. So by the time message 3 lands, Marcus has replied twice, He's shared the real concern, and he's already committed to the conversation. This called commitment and consistency. There is a marketer, professor of marketing, I think in Arizona, Robert Cialdini, and he's the one who wrote the book Influence. He wrote the book Influence. It's a huge book, and he calls this commitment and consistency. Meaning, once a person, it's called micro commitment, micro yes. Also, once a person starts saying yes, 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 even if you get a person to say yes just to like trial closing, it's like every time you ask a question and the question makes sense, the people say yes, and that micro yes builds up on itself until by the end, if you ask a big yes, there is less resistance. People feel less resistance to say no. They say yes. So this is what called Cialdini called commitments and consistency. That's the build up of the yes. So message 3 now isn't a pitch. It's the confirmation of trust that's already building. This is exactly how message 1, 2, and 3 sequence inside AgentIgnite is built. Okay, so the DNA of these messages are very strategic. First, the message 1 is speaks to the fear, not the product. It offers value. I did the research. I did the research. So you took the time to do the research. And ends with the frictionless yes or no questions, no pitch, no link. That's the first thing. The second thing in the message, second thing is that we took the time to qualify our prospect. So we don't just assume that he has the pain. We qualify. Do you happen to have right now an insurance with your company? Do you have something on the side, or you only have that with your company? So now we are asking questions. It's very, very frictionless. It's going to be answered with yes or no, and it's very it's not harmful at all. And in message 3, we respond. He responds to what he said, not what you assume. It's not a pitch. It's a natural next step that feels earned. And Cialdini commitments consistency principle is doing the heavy lifting for us. So the whole thing is that the fact now Marcus goes from completely cold conversation to book a call without feeling sold and without being pushed. And that's very powerful in itself. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right here because I don't want to make this too long. But I feel I hope that you get the gist of what we just put together for you, because this is such a breeze of fresh air for people who don't know what to talk about, or for people who are actively sending messages to their prospects, but they are actively sending messages that are not that are pushy, or that are not convincing enough, or not strategic enough. These allow us to really create something that it's completely inoffensive, and then we are just what we're doing is we are just basing all our rebuttal based on what they say, basically. Okay, so thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And if you guys have any questions, again, please make sure to leave them in the comments. I read all the comments. If you happen to be ready to join our movement, please make sure to check the sales page. It goes in detail about everything we offer. If you are ready, it's only $100. If you are ready to join us, then the link also is below. You can purchase it right now. Have a good day and talk to you soon. Bye.